everyone for your patience. That wonderful performance that we just saw was completely worth it. So we're really proud of our students. We're going to move back to the student representatives report. So Ms. Harris and Ms. Brogy can take over.
In the 6th Annual Congressional District Spring Art Awards, PHS art students sweep the top awards. While Sarah Venturi, Avia Hurley, and Naya Vespina won honorably mentioned, Savannah Cook won 2nd place and Kathleen Hammerdahl won 3rd place. Winning 1st place, Imani Sylvan's work will hang in the Capitol building for this year. On Wednesday, May 30th, 5 student athletes signed college admissions commitments. Eric Hollenbach committed to Rutgers Newark playing volleyball. Jordan Davidson committed to U Sciences playing basketball. Deshaun Grant committed to College of St. Elizabeth playing basketball. Najir Woods committed to Wilkes University playing football. And John Creer committed to NJIT for track and field. We congratulate all of our senior athletes and wish them the best of luck in their futures. Additionally, on May 25th, PHS history students participated in Law Day, the annual theme for this year being Separation of Powers, Framework for Freedom. Superior Court Judge Philip L. Paley facilitated the program, providing a brief overview on the 3 branches of government and his experiences in the courtroom. In addition, the Middlesex County Court spoke with students about careers in the courtroom, explaining their role in investigating and addressing complaints of maladministration and violations of rights.
Our PHS spring sports teams ended their season strong. Boys tennis beat South Plainfield 5-0 in an exciting match, and just recently, the varsity baseball team beat Elizabeth by 2 runs in a game on May 23rd. Earlier this week, senior Caitlin Erdman, a co-captain on the varsity softball team, played in the GMC All-Stars game. On June 5th, the varsity senior sports banquet was held at the Pines Manor. The graduating seniors from the athletic department were all recognized for their achievements, and several standout student athletes were honored with awards and scholarships. It was a bittersweet evening as we said farewell to the seniors, but we know they will continue to make us proud in their future endeavors. The PHS Orchestra, Band, and Choir all held their annual spring banquets in the past few weeks. At each banquet, outstanding students in the music department were honored with scholarships and awards for their hard work and talent. The banquets were an evening of fun and reflection as the students, teachers, and parents looked back on the eventful year they all had. Graduating seniors from the music department were also recognized for their dedication to the program and received well wishes from their directors as they move forward to the next stages of their lives. The Peewee TV Film Festival was held on Thursday, June 7th in the PAC. The event was a huge success as members of the film and TV program got to display all of their hard work and efforts from throughout the year. Several of the films showcased, including Aphonia, directed by senior Audrey Vischer, and Broken, the musical, directed by sophomore Reese Garcia, are award-winning productions. The students in this program continually impress us with their broadcasting and filmmaking skills, and we can't wait to see their further success in the future.
Thank you very much. Well, we would like to take this moment to acknowledge our student representatives. This is the end of the year. This is your last meeting, and actually it's Ms. Harris's last meeting, and I see proud mom out there with us. And for those of you that don't know, this is not an easy job. You do sit and at a pretty formal setting with us as board members, and it really takes a lot of courage, intellect, and insight. And you also are very good about choosing and selecting things that are so diverse within our community, within our student community. So we're really proud of you because that report is written by you, so it's just something to be proud of. So we wanted to take this minute to say thank you very much to Kira because you're going on to Rutgers University next year, and we're incredibly proud of you for all of your accomplishments. Many of those events that Kira was talking about, she was actually receiving awards at. So she failed to mention that during that time her name must have been announced 452 times for awards. So we are incredibly proud of you. We thank you for the service to the Board of Education. We thank you for the time that you've given, because I know on many nights you've had exams like now probably, Emma's like, yep. And you've been able to sort of stand here and be patient with us. So thank you so much for everything that you've done, and we wish you the best of luck. Same thing for Emma, it's your turn. Now the work begins. You now will represent us at the senior level, and we will have a junior coming in, correct, to represent us. And we're really proud of you, and thank you so much for working as hard as you do on a regular basis in everything that you do, and for representing the voice of our students here at the Board of Education. So thank you. Congratulations.
I just want to echo the President's remarks. Kara and Emma, your contributions this year have been remarkable, and you always see us taking notes on events that are coming up that we'd like to get to. So as Mrs. Lopez says, I wish you the best at Mason Gross, and you won't be too far away, so come back to see us. I would also like to recognize the contributions of Audrey, who is also graduating this year. Audrey served as our videographer this year and last year as well. And I will tell you that at the Academic Awards ceremony, Audrey walked away with the best of show in the TV production department, broadcast journalism. So we wish you the very best as well, and thank you for your service to the board.
Kira Harris.
My stuff here. Oh my gosh.
Congratulations. And this is for you. Okay. And Emma. Just a little something from us. Congratulations, and we'll see you here next year. Name tag.
Take it.
We need yours, Emma.
Thank you, ladies,
Take
so
care.
much.
Good luck on your exams
Yes.
tomorrow.
Good luck.
Well, you're off.
No? Oh, they're not. That's right. Schools are closed.
Yes, schools are
on this-
Okay. Okay, so a few things on the President's report. I'd like to spend a minute talking about the Teen Writers Guild. Author Judith Kristen will work with the selected PHS students in a Teen Writers Guild, which we're very excited about during the 2018-2019 school year. Students must apply with writing samples to be accepted into this program. The Teen Writers Guild offers students a chance to develop their literary talents, experience the professional writing process, and publish their work in a guild anthology. More than 40 students have already submitted applications, and initial meetings will take place over the summer. So it's incredibly exciting that they'll have that opportunity. Jersey Cares, an organization that creates corporate volunteer projects, once again brought a team of volunteers to Piscataway schools. On Tuesday, June 12th, a team from L'Oreal spent the day at Arbor, conducting STEM workshops in the classrooms and beautifying the grounds. Volunteers cleaned up and mulched, landscaping, created space and built planters for a vegetable garden, and painted murals in the hallways. This is the fourth time in 2 years that Jersey Cares brought volunteers into our schools, and we're very grateful for this partnership. Other events that went on, our students shared many of them. I was fortunate enough to have participated and gone to the orchestra banquet, the choir banquet. We also had the High School National Honor Society ceremonies. We had volunteer recognition for all of the volunteers in our community, which was a wonderful night. We had the Senior Varsity Sports Awards at the Pines Manor. This evening, we were able to spend some time with our Teachers of the Year, which was a wonderful ceremony. We also recognized our retirees this evening, which was also really exciting to see many of our teachers who've been in the district for so many years move on and start the next phase of their lives. We also had Jazz Under the Stars, and many of the board members were able to be there, which was wonderful. I wanted to share that Jazz Under the Stars saw one of its most successful years, and we're incredibly proud of the work that the kids did, and also the New Jersey State Jazz Orchestra for being there. I mean, we are exposed to some amazing things. These kids are very, very fortunate and know it because they are, they're humble. They're super humble. Jazz Under the Stars, also, I wanted to mention this evening that Kohl's participated in Jazz Under the Stars for the first time and provided volunteers that night. They had about 8 or 9 volunteers that you didn't even know they were there, but they provided, they helped to, put cheese on platters and hand out snacks to folks. And it was really nice to see that cooperation from our community. And they also gave a donation to Jazz Under the Stars, which was wonderful to see them there. So those are just a few things. I'm sure there were other events all over the district, and we are very, very busy with end-of-the-year activities, and we also have commencement coming up next week, so we're really excited for our graduating seniors. Yeah, so that's what I have for that. I'd like to actually take a minute to offer some words, and I'm going to ask that our attorney, David Rubin, as well as our business administrator, David Oliveira, help me. In response to the recent transportation concerns within our community, I'd like to take a few minutes to provide our community and tonight's guests with a general overview and information on behalf of the Board of Education and our administration. First, I'd like to turn it over to our attorney, David Rubin, who is going to give us a brief overview of the bidding process, both in the state of New Jersey as well as the Department of Education, and any specifications related to transportation.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez, and thank you all for coming out. Most of my talking usually happens between me and the board in closed session when I speak to them as their attorney, so I rarely have a chance to speak out here in public, so this is a pleasure for me. Ms. Lopez has asked me to talk a little bit to acquaint the public with some of the ground rules that we're bound by here at the school district when we go out to purchase transportation contracts, because from some things we've seen and heard, there may be some misconceptions out there, and I just wanted to set the record straight about the ground rules that we're bound by here. When we as private citizens want to go purchase goods and services, we can buy whatever we want. We have the money to pay for it. Nobody can tell us what criteria we need to use. If I like a particular car, I can apply whatever standards I like in choosing it. If I think one car is safer than another, that's up to me to decide. When you're dealing with public bodies, municipalities, or school boards, however, we don't have that luxury. We are not allowed, by and large, to pick and choose who we would like to contract with. The law tells us what the process is. There are certain types of contracts where we actually are allowed to pick whoever we want. There are other types of contracts where we're not allowed to pick whoever we want. We're required to produce a set of specifications, put them out on the street, as they say, let companies submit sealed bids, and then, if it's one of those types of contracts, we are required by law to award that contract to what the law calls the lowest responsible bidder. We can't just simply open up the bids and say, well, even though this person was lower than the other person, we think this other company would just kind of like them, or they've been here a while, or we prefer them. We're simply not allowed to do that. We do not have that choice. Now, just because you are the low bidder doesn't necessarily mean you always get the bid. If, for example, you have a demonstrated record of bad behavior that falls below a certain threshold and you're on certain lists maintained at the state, there are certain types of what they call prior negative experience, where if you fall onto one of those lists, even if you're the low bidder, we do not have to award the contract. And then there are other situations where somebody submits a bid and it's the lowest number, but the bid doesn't contain all the information that the bid specs called for, or it doesn't in other ways conform to the bid. And that could be a situation also where the lowest bidder doesn't necessarily get the bid. Where things get a little tricky, however, is what the law also tells us, is that even if the low bid doesn't exactly conform to what the bid specs require, even if there's some deviations from it, we may still be required to award to that bidder if those deviations from the bid specs are what the law would consider to be relatively minor and things did not give that bidder a competitive advantage over the other bidders. And then there were court cases that have looked at different defects and said this one is curable, that one you can't waive, and they go down a list of situations that the courts have looked at. So when a bid comes in, and let's say it doesn't exactly meet the bid specifications, there are some things that don't exactly comply. The burden falls, unfortunately, on me to look at what those are, look at the court cases that have been decided, and make a judgment as to whether any of those deviations are so minor that we're required, not allowed, but required to award that bid to that low bidder, or whether they're so significant that we must knock out that bid. So that's how the process works. In this particular case, I have no intention of discussing the details of the particular bid here. That'd be inappropriate for me to do. Can't say what folks at the lectern and the public session may want to talk about, but I'll not be commenting on any particular aspects of the bid, except to say that our business administrator, Mr. Oliveira, and I have reviewed the bid in this particular case and have determined that if, I emphasize if, there were any deviations in the lowest bid here, we have determined that they fall within that range that we're not only allowed to be cured, but really have no choice to. We may be right about that. We may be wrong about that. I've been around here about 40 years. This isn't the first bidding issue that we've had, and I think our track record of getting it right is pretty good. But if folks disagree with us, there's a process where they can challenge that, and and the folks who have an interest in those bids know what that process is. And we're humble enough to admit that, somebody who's reviewing that in a court or elsewhere may disagree with us, but we made a good faith judgment and think we've reached the right conclusion. So that's a little brief overview of how we got to where we are, Madam President, and I'll yield the floor back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rubin. At this time, I'd like to ask our business administrator, Mr. Oliveira, to share or give us a little bit of an overview of our current transportation department, some of our history there, and also moving forward, what the plan is strategically for a safe and seamless transition to September.
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. It's no secret that 6 years ago, the Piscataway Transportation Department had a difficult opening of school and fell short of our community's expectations and our own expectations for the safe, timely transportation of our students. At that time, the district took immediate steps to address the cause of the problems by hiring a transportation consultant, redesigning our transportation routes, and hiring new drivers. We've maintained our focus on improving the performance of our transportation department each year, and for 5 consecutive years, we've had smooth school openings, and we've provided safe, reliable transportation for our students throughout the year. I'd like to take a moment to briefly discuss the procedures we follow to prepare for transportation each year of our students. Student enrollment is uploaded to our transportation software and double-checked with manual comparisons of data to ensure we have captured all students. Subscription busing applications are added, and the district usually places all applicants through the end of August on buses in time for the start of the year. Routes are built with a focus on the most convenient stops, yet we try to minimize moving stops from year to year. Bus passes are mailed around the 3rd week of August to allow parents to review bus assignments, and the transportation department makes adjustments. District administration meets with in-house drivers and private contractor drivers at an annual kickoff meeting in August to review procedures and bus safety. Transportation release forms are processed for kindergarten through 3rd grade students, and copies are provided to the bus drivers and building principals before the school year starts so that our drivers know who is authorized to meet those K-3 students at the bus stop. And dry runs are performed by both district drivers and private contract drivers the last week of August. We also provide binders with all bus route information given to building principals for the first day of school. These procedures are already in place, will continue to be in place, and are constantly subject to review to identify areas of improvement for our operations and the operations of our private contractor. In addition to the above transportation routing procedures, all drivers, whether they be school drivers or private contractor employees, are subject to numerous state requirements, including Motor Vehicle Commission driver abstract reviews twice per year. These abstracts detail motor vehicle violations and indicate whether a driver's privileges are in good standing. Annual criminal history background check, regular health physical examinations, and completion of a training program for students with special needs. Drivers are required to be properly trained by their employer and must complete a safety education program as well. All school buses are subject to semi-annual safety inspections by the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. Buses are not allowed to be used to transport students unless they've been approved by the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. Anytime there's a change in a service provider, an increased level of attention is required to try to achieve a seamless transition. If there is a change in the bus company, the Piscataway Transportation Department will work with the private contractor to ensure they are completing all of the training requirements, whether it be through joint training sessions or monitoring by our transportation supervisor. We'll conduct multiple dry runs in August to increase driver familiarity with the streets and stops on each bus route. Minor challenges arrive every new school year, whether it be teacher assignments, locating appropriate aides, or managing new bus drivers. The Piscataway Board of Education works relentlessly towards solutions that address the needs of our students and community. And we will continue to do so with any transition that may occur in student transportation at any time, so that we can maintain safe, reliable transportation for the students and community of Piscataway. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 7, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. In the interests of time, we're going to postpone the EVVRS and HIB reports to our June 28th meeting. Obviously, there's a lot of pressing business, but a couple of things I wanted the board to be aware of. Graduation next Thursday night, 6 o'clock at the rack. Tomorrow, there will be a special delivery at your homes. You will receive black gowns and hoods, shawls, really. So we will be dressed in academic regalia at commencement. So those will be delivered tomorrow to your homes. Also, please return the list of graduations if there's anybody in particular that you would like to present diplomas to. Also, to make sure that the board is aware, Dr. Robert Brooks, who opened our school year last year at convocation, will be returning to the district tomorrow for a follow-up visit with all district administrators. It'll be a day-long workshop with this eminent psychologist and educator. Thank you, Dr. Ranelli, for coordinating this day-long program, and the focus again will be on the social emotional needs of our students. As an example of that, our assistant superintendent, Dr. Ranelli, also held a meeting last Monday evening for about 250 parents who attended. These are parents of advanced placement students and students themselves, and they were required to attend if freshmen and sophomores were taking advanced placement courses for the first time, and juniors and seniors were encouraged to attend. And this is part of the district's effort to make students aware of how rigorous the coursework is and to help make informed decisions as to what they're enrolling in when they undertake advanced placement courses. And from what I'm told, it was a very successful night. Students themselves were very honest about their workload, but also the benefits of advanced placement. And speaking of advanced placement, I am happy to announce that students in our biomedical program this year, you know that that's the affiliation we have with Rutgers University. 3 of our high school instructors are adjuncts at Rutgers University as well, so they teach the coursework. And 23 of our seniors are graduating this year with 14 college credits at Rutgers University. 23. An additional 6 seniors have 7 credits, 5 seniors have 3 credits. So we're very proud of the college level learning that's taking place for students in this program at Piscataway High School. On the back table and in your packet, there was other events that are going on. Our STEAM team had some toy wars with students in 2nd grade. They were presented with traditional toys such as Slinkies and Rubik Cubes and xylophones, and they were asked to engineer some new designs. So I think at all grade levels, I'm really happy to say that our students are being challenged in science, mathematics, and technology. Let me see. And as I said, I'm going to move along on the report. I did just also want to acknowledge and wish blessings to our Muslim constituents, our families and friends in our community on the ending of Ramadan this evening and celebration of Eid tomorrow. So best wishes and many blessings to our families who are observant. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 8, Personnel and Labor Relations. Ms. Deepan?
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as item, first motion identified as item A be approved as presented.
Second.
As there is no discussion on personnel matters, Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll?
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Be it resolved that the following motion identified as item B be approved as presented.
As there is no discussion on items related to personnel, Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll?
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez?
Present, not voting.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items
Second.
Okay. As there is no discussion on items related to personnel, Mr. Secretary, if you would just call the roll.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Item number 9, approval of the minutes. Dr. Nazir.
Be it resolved, the following minute be approved as submitted. Business meeting May 10, 2018, executive session meeting May 10, 2018.
Second.
Any additions or corrections to the business meeting of May 10th, 2018, or the executive session May 10th, 2018? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments from the floor. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and school matters of community interest. In support of this position, the law establishes a period of public comment at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written material in support of their position. All statements and/or questions shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy rights of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor. And at this time, if we have any comments from the floor?
Can you speak on the transportation at this point?
Absolutely.
And I'd like to pass along to you.
Yes, Matt.
Very good, thank you. That's for time, I'll speed through this real quick.
What's your name and address, please, sir?
Yes, I'm Mike Tikach, I'm the Vice President, Business Agent for Teamsters Local 469.
Sorry, could you spell your last name, sir?
T as in Tom, K as in Karen, A as Apple, T as in Tom, C as Charlie, Harry, TKATCH.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And you're the Vice President?
Vice President, Teamsters Local 469, a business agent. It's located at 3400 Highway 35, Hazlet, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Okay. Teamsters Local 469 represents the dorm workers out of Piscataway, who service the Piscataway Board of Education. I'm here today to urge the board to reject Layla's transportation as the lowest bid for the students. Teamsters Local 469 has serious concerns about Layla Transportation's ability to successfully perform this contract. In addition, there are material defects in Layla's bid that cause for immediate rejection of their bid. You have been provided with the letter from joint letter from Teamsters Local 469 and Durham outlining the concerns of Layla. The workers' compensation certification liability insurance provided by Layla Transportation expired on 1/11/2018. In addition, the bid requires $5 million auto liability insurance for the combined single limit. Layla's certification only provides for $3 million. The affirmative action question that's asked, affirmative action, Layla Transportation indicates the company has a federal affirmative action plan. Our research has shown that Layla Transportation does not have a federal action, affirmative action, plan. And under the disclosure, Layla Transportation did not fill out their name and address or for the organization. It is noted on the statement, failure to submit the required information is cause for automatic rejection of the bid. In addition to the material facts found in the bid, we have the same concerns. Our research suggests that Layla Transportation does not have the buses necessary to perform the work for Piscataway schools as required by the specific bids under Vehicles, Section 3. We urge the board to require Layla Transportation to either demonstrate they already own the buses necessary to perform the services or provide proof that these buses have been ordered or purchased. Teamster Local 469 has contacted Layla Transportation to discuss wages, terms, and conditions for the workers and has not heard anything back from them as of yet. Our concern, obviously, is wages and jobs lost due to the folks that have been dedicated to this system for quite some time. Durham School Service members of Teamsters Local 469 have safely and successfully performed transportation service for Piscataway School Board since 2008. Some of the people here actually have been here longer than that have been working for you. The drivers of Piscataway students and parents, the drivers know the Piscataway students, the parents, and know the routes and perform their jobs of taking the kids to and from work safely and professionally for years. We jointly request that the board take some additional time to review the bids and reject those like Layla Transportation that have certain material defects and have not demonstrated the ability to fully perform this contract. We know in this day and age, all school boards are required to get the best price and use tax dollars as responsibly as possible. The board has another responsibility to ensure that the company which is awarded the contract not only has the lowest price, but has a bid that complies with the law and can demonstrate the ability to safely execute the contract. Our students, our families, and our community deserve nothing less. So on behalf of our president, Fred Potter, and all the members of Teamsters Local 469, we urge the board to reject the Layla Transportation as lowest bid for the transportation service. If Durham is the next lowest bidder, you should award the contract to them since they have a proven record of service with Piscataway. If Durham is not the lowest bidder of the board, the board should table the vote on the student transportation until the next business meeting so all parties can adequately review all bids. And I do thank you for your time.
Madam President, point of order. I did not hear whether this gentleman was an attorney, is representing the Teamsters Union as an attorney, or whether he's representing himself as a private citizen. If he's representing the Teamsters, I'd ask that his comments be stricken from the record, as he is not entitled to make a representation of any party unless he is in fact an attorney. Second is that the gentleman had passed to the members of the school district, of the school board, something that the public does not have an opportunity to review as well. I would ask that his comments be stricken from the record and that anything that he passed up be also stricken from the record, as it's not been disclosed to the public what that was.
I'll rule on the point of order. This is not a court of law, and we do not operate by the rules that a court of law operates under. I see nothing, by the standards this board operates under, I see nothing out of order with the gentleman's comments. He identified who he was. He identified who he claimed he was here on behalf of. The board will take his statement for whatever they think it's worth. It's not unusual for members of the public who come to speak to the board to pass out materials. As a matter of fact, the opening statement specifically allows for it. So your objection is on record, my ruling's on record, and this gentleman's statement's on record. So that's my ruling, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam President.
For the record, could you give me your name for the record?
Arvin Eitel.
And whether you're an attorney.
A-I-T-H-A-L.
And Arvin was the first name?
Arvin.
Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Ceriglia. I am